If Jupiter didn't exist, life probably wouldn't have formed on Earth. If Earth was twice as far from the Sun, life probably wouldn't have formed on Earth. If a comet didn't strike Earth billions of years ago to seed it with water, life probably wouldn't have formed on Earth. And there's so many more. It just seems highly improbable that Earth would be just right for life to evolve on it. But all of these apparent cosmic coincidences can be explained away with one principle, the anthropic principle. In its weakest form, the anthropic principle is little more than a truism. Observers will only find themselves in places where they could possibly exist. And of course that's the case. If the conditions on Earth were such that intelligent life could never have evolved on it, then surely there would have never been humans to observe that the conditions do not allow for our evolution. But at least to me, this is what makes it such a useful principle. So long as the features required for life are possible somewhere in the universe, then any life forms finding themselves in the universe will find that they seem to live in a special place. This all but eliminates the philosophical conundrum of our circumstances being too rare. Who cares if Earth-like planets are 1 in a trillion? If observers can only arise on Earth-like planets, then 100% of them will find themselves on otherwise exceedingly rare planets. In fact, author Douglas Adams has a famous allegory for explaining this principle. He asks you to imagine a puddle of water that just gained consciousness. It wakes up one morning and thinks, "This is an interesting world I find myself in. An interesting hole I find myself in. Fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it." This is such a powerful idea that as the sun rises in the sky and the air heats up and as gradually the puddle gets smaller and smaller, frantically hanging on to the notion that everything's going to be alright because this world was meant to have him in it, was built to have him in it, so the moment he disappears catches him rather by surprise. The puddle is much like the ignorant human. The world seems far too perfect for humans to be a coincidence. But no, it was an inevitability so long as intelligent life was possible anywhere in the universe. Intelligent observers would only ever find themselves in a perfectly fitting hole in the ground. Now, a caveat, a warning, if you will. This line of reasoning is very useful if you're trying to understand why something very unlikely is true about, say, the solar system. And that works because there are 100 billion trillion solar systems just within the observable universe. So long as that life-permitting configuration is not too rare, it should be very unsurprising we find ourselves in such a rare place. But when we instead are interested in the fundamental constants of nature, we can't use the same reasoning, because we don't know if there are other universes with other fundamental constants. If you'd like to use the anthropic reasoning to justify our universe's ability to produce life, you have to assume that there are other, perhaps infinitely many, universes with different physical laws. If that's true, then of course we would find ourselves in a universe with laws that permit life to exist. But if there's only one universe, then anthropic reasoning can't explain why we're here. And that's a hard question.